One day, little Johnny asks his father, "Dad, why do grown-ups like to exercise in bed?" The wife was cooking dinner when she heard little Johnny ask, so she eavesdrops and listens to what her husband will have to say. Father: "Because it makes grown-ups happy." Johnny: "I want to be happy too." Father: "Then you have to wait until you're a grown-up." Johnny: "But who will exercise with me when I grow up?" Father: "Hopefully when you get married, it will be your wife." Johnny: "But Dad, how come our neighbor Sally exercises with you?" Wife rushes out of the kitchen, and an ambulance arrives 10 minutes later. A husband and wife are grocery shopping together. He grabs a case of beer and puts it in the cart. "What are you doing?" she asks. "They're on sale, $10 for 24 cans, he says. "Put them back," she snaps. "We can't afford them." They continue shopping. A few minutes later, she places a $20 jar of face cream into the cart. "What's that?" he asks. "It's my face cream. It makes me look beautiful," she says. He pauses, shrugs, and replies, "So does 24 cans of beer. And it's half the price." A guy is strolling through town when he spots a bar with a sign that reads, "All the beer you can drink for $1. Thinking it's too good to pass up, he heads inside, sits at the bar, hands over $1, and asks for a beer. "Coming right up," says the bartender, who then pulls out a tiny shot glass and fills it halfway. The guy stares in disbelief. "Seriously? What's this?" The bartender grins. "That's all the beer you can drink for $1." Joe rented an apartment and went to the lobby to put his name on his mailbox. While there, an attractive young lady came out of the apartment next to the mailboxes wearing a robe. Joe smiled at the young woman and she started a conversation with him. As they talked, her robe slipped open, and it was obvious that she had nothing else on. Poor Joe broke out into a sweat, trying to maintain eye contact. After a few minutes, she placed her hand on his arm and said, "Let's go to my apartment. I hear someone coming." He followed her into her flat. She closed the door and leaned against it, allowing her robe to fall off. Now completely naked, she purred at him. "What would you say is my best feature?" Flustered and embarrassed, Joe finally squeaked, "It's got to be your ears." Astounded and a little hurt, she asked, "My ears? Look at these breasts. They are full and 100% natural. I work out every day. Look at my skin. No blemishes anywhere. How can you feel that the best part of my body is my ears?" Clearing his throat, Joe stammered, "Outside? When you said you heard someone coming?" "Yes." "Well, that was me. I caught a really bad case of the flu in Madrid. Whilst sniffling and coughing and rolling around in the hotel bed, I realized I needed medical attention, so I called the concierge to get help." "Oh, so you're sick," came the reply. "Not a problem. We'll send our very own hotel doctor up to your room right away." The doctor strolled into the room within seconds, and whilst I stuttered and tried to comprehend the situation, he gave me some medicine to ease the symptoms. When I finally stammered out, "Hey, how does the hotel have their own doctor on call?" He simply shook his head and cracked a smile and replied, "Nobody expects the Spanish Inn physician." One sunny afternoon, a mother-in-law dropped by her daughter-in-law's house, carrying a basket of fresh fruit. She knocked on the door, and to her surprise, her daughter-in-law opened it, wearing absolutely nothing but a confident smile. Shocked, the mother-in-law gasped, "Why on earth aren't you wearing any clothes?" With a playful wink, the daughter-in-law replied, "Oh, this? I'm wearing my love suit. It drives your son wild." Completely flustered, the mother-in-law muttered something about needing some air and quickly left. But that night, the idea kept nagging at her. Maybe there's something to this love suit thing, she thought. So, wanting to spice things up, she decided to give it a try. When her husband came home that evening, she stood there, completely naked, striking her best pose. He stopped in his tracks, stared, and asked, "What exactly is going on?" With a flirty grin, she said, "I'm wearing my love suit, just like our daughter-in-law." He raised an eyebrow, looked her up and down, and replied, "Well, maybe it's time to get it pressed." After her wealthy husband passed away, a sharp and strikingly beautiful widow inherited the entire ranch. The only problem? She had no idea how to run it. Determined not to let it fall apart, she placed an ad for a ranch hand. 2 cowboys applied. One was a known heavy drinker, the other openly gay. Faced with limited options, she hired the gay cowboy. Her reasoning? At least he wouldn't be causing trouble around the house the way the drunk might. Turned out to be the smartest decision she could have made. The man was a fantastic worker. Knowledgeable, disciplined, and dedicated. Under his care, the ranch flourished. One evening, leaning against the barn door with a glass of wine in hand, the widow said, "You've been amazing. Why don't you head into town tonight and treat yourself?" With a grin and a tip of his hat, the cowboy rode off for a well-deserved night out. Midnight passed, then 1 o'clock, then 2. Finally, around 2:30 a.m., he stumbled through the front door, only to find the widow still awake, waiting calmly by the fireplace with her wine. Without a word, she looked him in the eye and said in a low, sultry voice, "Take off my blouse." A bit stunned, he stepped forward and carefully unbuttoned it. "Now my boots." He dropped to his knees and slid them off one at a time. "Now my socks." His hands trembled as he peeled them off. "Now take off my skirt." He hesitated, heart racing, but did as told. "Now my bra." Red in the face, he unclasped it, eyes wide with confusion. The widow leaned back in her chair, took another sip of wine, and said with a wicked smile, "If you ever wear my clothes into town again, you're fired." One night, a man's wife sends him out to buy a pack of cigarettes. He heads to the store, but it's already closed. On his way back, he notices a bar that's still open and decides to check if there's a vending machine inside. While looking around, he ends up chatting with a gorgeous woman at the bar. One drink turns into a few, and before he knows it, he's at her place. Hours pass, and suddenly he checks the time. 3 a.m. Panic sets in. "My wife is going to kill me," he says. "Quick, do you have any talcum powder?" Confused but cooperative, the woman hands him some. He rubs it all over his hands and rushes home. He tiptoes in through the front door, only to find his wife waiting in the living room, arms crossed, fuming. "Where have you been?" she demands. Caught off guard but trying to salvage the situation, he replies, "Well, the store was closed, so I stopped by a bar, had a few drinks, met a woman, and things got a little out of hand." She glares at him. "Oh, really?" "Show me your hands." He hesitantly holds them up, still covered in white powder. Her eyes narrow. Her voice rises. "You liar. You've been bowling again, haven't you?